Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes. This day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change.
Yes, I am wearing a very heavy leopard coat with leopard shirt and my leopard watch band. I'm just, okay. Well, because it's cold down here and I didn't want to have the heater on. So I figured I would just put on one of my winter coats and that would solve that problem. Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. I need to get caught up on LP history. So even though it's a holiday, this is what I love doing. So I figured, what the heck, I am going to stream anyway. This is probably not going to be a long stream, but we've got to get through this issue of LP News before the end of December. And Wednesday, I scheduled a show talking about the recent Judicial Committee decision in the Libertarian Party in Michigan. If you haven't seen, some people might not even be aware this has happened, but go to my Facebook post and see a barking moonbat video from somebody who, okay, let's be honest, wanted to intimidate people into not going to meetings or conventions for fear they would run into this crazy woman who said that she wanted to bite their necks and drink their blood. Yeah, that's stable. She seems nice. And perhaps I'm just super sensitive to that because I literally did have somebody threaten to beat me nearly to death in a Zoom meeting once and then write to the board of Colorado and put it in writing and said, just in case you thought I was being hyperbolic or in case you didn't take me literally, no, if you come in my county, I am literally going to beat you nearly to death, to the point where if I ever went in that county, I feel like I'd need to get a restraining order. So I am super, super sensitive to people making threats over Zoom meetings and saying, oh, I can't wait to meet you all in person because I want to bite your necks and drink your blood. Like, lady, this isn't a Twilight Zone, Twilight movie. I was going to say Twilight Zone, but I meant just Twilight. Like, get help. Like, settle down, Beavis. That's not good. And I'm not a person who is big on internal party discipline. To me, bad actors, just ignore them. But crap like actually threatening people and using intimidation tactics, that's an expellable offense. I'm sorry. That's an expellable offense. Like, that is crazy. And, like, get help. Seriously, get help. And yeah, everyone else, concealed carry your crucifix and garlic. The jokes do just tell themselves, though. There's a meme I just posted on my Facebook page that says something like, I was willing to excuse hair stealing, but I draw the line at neck biting. That's some crazy, man. I'm sure all political parties are this way. I wasn't involved in politics before, so I have no idea. But holy crap. Okay, but let's get on to LP history. But go check out the video. It's on my wall. I'll probably play it during my show because I do think it's necessary to show just the high drama of stuff that's going on. But the show mostly is going to be just going through what happened, the parliamentary history, and why I agree with the JC decision, and what people who have disagreed think, and why I think they're incorrect. Though I do think it's possible to disagree in good faith, but their JC has spoken. But I do think it's possible in one respect to disagree in good faith. I just think you're wrong. But I like doing these breakdown shows, so we're gonna get into that on Wednesday. Okay, today I'm not gonna take comments off because why not? It's Christmas Eve. I've got a tiny bit of margarita in the glass. I spent the whole day down at storage messing with party newsletters, so it's been my happy place. If anyone is watching in Colorado near Littleton and you want to come help out on Saturdays at the historical storage, I need volunteers. I got one from Colorado, Winrich, who is going to be coming down nearly every Saturday. And it's not a spicy margarita, unfortunately, Nathan. I don't have any jalapenos here, but that would be fun. But if you're in Colorado, I'd love to have you whatever Saturdays you can come down to work on the historical archive. So today what we're going to be covering is state parties hold conventions. So these are 1974 conventions. I know this isn't the most scintillating material, so we're going to kind of skim through it. I'm not going to read word for word, but let me tell you what is fantastic about things like this. Nobody remembers what happened in 74. So when we're going to reconstruct the party history, in just dry historical terms, what's super important is when were state conventions? Who were the speakers at these conventions? Who was elected at these conventions? Where were they held? And this is how we're reconstructing the party history. So what I do when I'm done with these shows is I go back through these issues and I extract out every place a state chair was named or when a convention was, and I put that into the record. Like I'll create an article on LPedia for that convention, or I'll go to the historical listing of state chairs for whatever party and say, oh, we didn't know who was chair in 74. Now we do. So I am reconstructing a good part of our institutional history by going through these LP news. It's a shame, I think, nowadays. Forget about return on investment, whether you think having paper newsletters is a good idea or not. Forget about that. I'm going to say something that a lot of people who are really into history, and I'm sure professional historians, but also lay historians like myself, find very unhelpful about the current age, is so much happens digitally. It's not archived in any meaningful fashion, and then it's gone. Think of how much LP history has happened in Discord servers that got deleted, or Slack channels that no longer exist, or Facebook posts, and that stuff's gone forever. We now have digital newsletters, and those are transitory. Nobody's really saving them, and I think that's a shame. I really, really do. But you can help preserve your state party's history by trying to capture some of that digital stuff and getting it up on LPedia. I know it's sometimes not the most exciting work, and right now you're like, why do I want to document we're having a convention in April? Everyone knows that. Yeah, everyone knows that now. They're not going to know it 50 years from now. So hopefully that encouraged you to try to document some things. I've been documenting all of these controversies. I just finished the Massachusetts party controversy page today for what happened earlier with the mass expulsion. So all of the pertinent documents are archived on LPedia. We don't have that for Oregon, and that's such a shame. There's somebody else doing the one for Virginia. Liberty Lisa, I think, is the name on LPedia. Whoever you are, Lisa, I think it's Elisa. Well, whoever you are, God bless you for documenting all that Virginia stuff. I need to go back and document all the Idaho stuff, and now I need to document the recent Michigan Judicial Committee decision. I could do this full time, and I probably would if there was some way I was making a full-time living through activism. A lot of my day would be dedicated to LPedia and documenting our history. But speaking of documenting our history, that's what we're going to do right now. My hair is getting so grown out, and the roots are growing out, so I pull it back a lot now because it's just snaggletooth. Oh, I need my old lady magnifying glass. Let's get it out here. Okay, that's what she said. A few months ago in our first expanded issue, yeah, these are expanded issues, all right, our sources of news from the state parties, check this out. This is so 1970s. Mainly consisted of a few mimeographed sheets. My God, I would love to, I would kill just to smell a mimeograph again. Man, those were just wonderful. That and a Moldorama wax being made. Okay, now a short time later, many more organizations have sprung up around the country, and our news sources have included many and varied professional-looking newsletters. We used to be on a newsletter exchange with state parties, so we'd send the state party a certain number of copies of LP News in exchange for them putting the national party on their mailing list, and that's how we have so many of these old newsletters. Now, I know this that I'm reading through is a national newsletter. But some of you know I've started going through some California newsletters, and those were from a newsletter exchange, or I bought them on eBay. Congratulations to all the state organizations. Okay, so let's just start to skim through this. Who is Edith Prickley? JJ? What are you talking about? All I can say is...
Objection, speculative.
Yes. All right. So, Alaska. Ooh, I'll have to look this up. It says, in an interview in the September 30th Anchorage Daily Times. Let's look that up right now if we can. I don't know if my newspapers.com subscription, I don't know if I have my password saved here, but let's look. Let's see if we can look it up. And if you guys didn't know, while I'm looking this up, wow, it doesn't want to pull up. Is my connection kind of shitty? Oh, there's an S in newspapers. If you guys didn't know, newspapers.com is owned by Ancestry, the genome people, and Ancestry at least when I last heard, is owned by the Mormon Church. And why would the Mormon Church own an ancestry site? Because they're really big into genealogies, because they believe it's a religious duty to baptize for the dead. Yes, we got into a religious trivia show now. Okay. I want to look up Paul Beard. Beard from 1974. Let's see if we can find this article. Oh, I need to sign in. Derp. But I didn't do like the YouTube stuff at the beginning here, you know, like asking you to become a Patreon or saying all super chats matter. But one of the things your subscriptions help pay for is the subscription to newspapers.com. So we have Fairbanks Daily News Miner. Let's look at this. This might be fun to look at. This is from November, so that would be the period of time we're looking at. So let me see. Ooh, check this out. Okay, hold on one second. I want to get this highlight off the page here, and let me see if I can download this. Check this out. I wonder how much he had to pay for this ad. I know I'm saying check this out, and you guys can't check this out yet because I don't have it up on my screen, but I'm going to do that right now. I just screenshotted this. Let me pull this up. I like doing this right live with you. Okay, look at this. Take this ad with you to the polls and write in Paul Beard, Libertarian candidate for U.S. House. Statement of principles. Okay, I want to see. I can't read it on the screen for me because I've got terrible vision. But I pulled that up in preview. Let me see if I can magnify this for me to be able to give you some highlights from this. Oh, all he did was reprint the statement of principles of the National Party. Oh my God. And though I think he got the wrong statement of principles. This is so interesting. Oh, no, it's correct. It's the 1974 Statement of Principles because it says where governments exist. I thought he reprinted the one from 1972. That is super, super cool. I'm going to get that up on Lpedia. Wow. To just spend that money to run a newspaper ad to put up the Statement of Principles. I salute you, Paul Beard. And he was a state chair of Colorado for a while. Okay. Now, I didn't get that from the Anchorage Daily Times, which was mentioned here, but from the Fairbanks newspaper. Now, check this out. Baird said that the problems associated with the Alaska pipeline exist because governments have insisted on owning Alaska land instead of throwing it open to individuals and let them decide if a company is paying enough to cross it. When did the Alaska, what's it called, General Fund? Private fund, I can't remember what it's called, but there's almost like a Georgia's land value tax in Alaska. That's not exactly it, but each citizen of Alaska gets paid a certain amount of money each year, kind of as a dividend to allow the oil companies to drill on quote unquote public land. What's that called? God, I remember that from when I was Region 1. But I wonder if that existed in 1974, because this seems like kind of what he's complaining about. Not the dividend, but the fact that oil companies were basically stripping Alaska of resources. Okay, Arizona. The state LP has 2 addresses. I don't think it means physical addresses. I think he's talking about speakers because it says it's called A Night with the Libertarians. And in Arizona, the Phoenix area can now boast of 2 branches of the party, the West Valley and the East Valley Libertarians. Nathan, are you here? Did you know that? I know those don't exist now. It's now county. What county is Phoenix in? Is that Maricopa? Okay, then Arkansas. They just adopted their rules, which I'm assuming is their bylaws and a platform. California, party activities centered primarily around the gubernatorial candidacy of John Hospers. Oh man, check this out. Other good news includes favorable coverage and a libertarian hotline in the San Diego area. I should have brought down my membership card. I still have my old one. It doesn't say this anymore, but on the back of it, it said something like Libertarian Hotline on the back of it. And then people started spamming Facebook and say, hey, call this number, and says Libertarian Hotline. Hey, I just saw a statist. And they changed the membership cards because of that. Oh my God. So Nathan, had you ever heard of West Valley and East Valley Libertarians? So this is what was going on in Arizona in 74. But you guys did end up getting disaffiliated in, what, was it 96? So maybe things changed around then. Corey Casanova, what a name. Let's, I think he's got you, Doc Sexy, with that name, Corey Casanova. He was a peace and freedom candidate. I just saw that name. Oh my God, we know her, June Janis from California. It says LP activist June Janis, and they spelled her name wrong in here, has announced her candidacy for the Palo Alto School Board. Colorado. Wow, the state convention was in December. Right now, per statute, our state convention has to be around March or April. It's going to be in the first weekend of April this year. Okay, Florida, the Libertarian Institute for a Free Economy. And hello, Ronwell. Haven't seen you in a while. And then, it talks about Georgia. They've been producing letter writing campaigns. Hawaii keeps mentioning this newsletter called Free! ! I've never seen a copy of this newsletter yet. There's some updates on Illinois and Indiana and Kentucky. Now, what Kentucky, here's a new newsletter I've never heard of. Their newsletter at the time was called the Libertarian Front. And Louisiana's newsletter, that's next, is called Liberté with an E, like French, Liberte. And I've never seen that newsletter either. And one of their mottos is, now is the time for all libertarians to stop talking to themselves. Massachusetts has a newsletter, Massachusetts Liberty. I think every single state at one point in their history has had a newsletter with their state name followed by Liberty. Colorado Liberty is the name of our newsletter. It used to be called the Clipboard for CLP board because our party name used to be the Colorado Libertarian Party, CLP, so they did CLIP. So I thought that was interesting. So Michigan, had a convention. We're going to be talking about Michigan on Wednesday. And the state LP newsletter in Minnesota, and I haven't seen any copies of this yet either, is The Reasonable Answer was their newsletter's name. And there's some update on some candidates in New Hampshire. New Hampshire actually has quite a bit going on here. What? Oh, never mind. I forgot this was 1974 for a minute. New Mexico. New Mexico was wait. They were affiliated. JJ. I just found something really interesting. Check this out. I'm going to read New Mexico in full. New Mexico. A recent state convention resulted in a new LP organization for New Mexico. So did they fall apart and have to reorganize in 1974? Which means it's not a continuous organization that has used the name Libertarian Party of New Mexico since 1972. It looks like they had to restart in 1974, which makes our trademark case even better. Wow, this is news. Sarwark spies, go run and tell Mr. Lucchini. According to Chairman David Pearson, I wonder if he's still around, the individual cope with the major objectives are to help the individual cope with the upcoming political and economic problems, to plant the seeds of libertarian thought in society. Okay, New York talks a lot about the campaign of Jerry Tuccilli. Some brief updates from Oregon and Ohio. And check this out. Oklahoma. I wonder if D. Frank Robinson, it says the LP has published a special state fair edition of its newsletter. I haven't seen that. And it says it's a very impressive publication. I would love to see that. And then it talks about how South Carolina got a major media boost. And Tennessee, it says the LP newsletter called the Liberty Bell. I thought the Liberty Bell was a California newsletter as well. Let me look that up on LPedia, because I know I've seen a newsletter called the Liberty Bell, but I didn't think that was a Tennessee newsletter. So I'm going to look up Liberty Bell. Yeah, California. So it turns out Tennessee used to have a newsletter called the Liberty Bell. I want to share my screen with you guys here a second to show you. I'm going to make this chat a little smaller for a second so I don't have to get rid of it entirely. And here you can see the Liberty Bell was a hard copy tabloid format newsletter that was previously published by the Libertarian Party of California. But now we know there was one in Tennessee in the 70s, because if you look here, the Liberty Bell in California is in the 90s, and this is what it looked like. I'm going to pull this up so you could see it was a nice newspaper, tabloid format. Our newsletters used to be, look at how fact-dense these old newsletters were. The modern newsletters are just rah-rah. They're, but that's very interesting. Okay. Right, let's come back here. And let me make y'all's chat big again. That's what she said. Okay. Texas opened a permanent headquarters. And there was news interviewing Mike Holmes. I've mentioned Mike Holmes on the show before. He's no longer involved with the LP, but he used to put out a newsletter. I still talk with him occasionally. He's an OG. Utah features, Carl Bray, excuse me. God, I'm getting all my names confused. John Bray is a author of some eschatological works in Christianity. Carl Bray. Washington, they talk about Skip Barron's race. And funny, in this affiliate update, though they don't call it an affiliate update, they mention Canada. So I guess it's just libertarian news rather than an affiliate update. And the provincial LP in Alberta was called the Libertarian Alternative. Okay, interesting. All righty. Well, I think that might be it for this show. Actually, I'm going to read one portion of this because it will close out the next page. There's a headline that says National Review goes downhill. So, if any of you have not liked the National Review, at least you could take some solace in knowing it had been going downhill since the 1970s. Okay, so the National Review, the recent further deterioration of conservatism as a force for individual liberty in the United States was never more depressingly evident than the November 22nd issue of the leading conservative journal, National Review. Separate articles by two senior editors demonstrate that conservative leaders are no longer even paying lip service to halting big government. Now they are encouraging its growth. In an editorial entitled The Easy Way to Save Lots of Gasoline, editor James Burnham suggests two simple steps to solve the energy crisis. One, institute $1 a gallon tax. Holy crap. This is a conservative in the 70s. You know how much $1 a gallon? Oh my God. Wow. And structure income taxes to make the rich foot the bill. My God. Burnham's editorial simultaneously displays a profound ignorance of economics and a contemptible disregard for human rights and private property. If there is, in fact, a shortage of gasoline, the marketplace will quickly limit demand, thank you, without the help of an arbitrarily imposed surcharge by the government. It's called higher prices and profits, Mr. Burnham, and it's also how you solve the supply side of the problem. Perhaps Burnham's lack of understanding of market economics is a remnant of his Trotskyite past. Libertarians would do well to think twice before saying they agree with conservatives on economic questions. The second article by Jeffrey Hart was entitled The Presidency? Shifting Conservative Perspective. In it, Hart bemoans the power of the Fourth Estate, praises the Nixon administration for its attacks and pressure on the media, and calls for a more powerful presidency. It seems both likely and desirable, he says, that the attitude of conservatives toward the executive power will undergo a drastic shift. There is, after all, a long and honorable tradition of conservative advocacy of the strong executive. My God. You think the Republicans are bad today. Okay, well, that will be it for today. We got a couple articles we'll probably do tomorrow. I really need to get through this LP News. Let me see. Oh, actually, we don't have that much more left. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 3 articles left. Okay. No, I don't ever give it a rest. And yes, I am a psycho, but I don't want to bite your neck. So that's a plus. I'm not that kind of psycho, and I won't steal your hair. Okay, everyone, I do hope you have a very happy holidays. If you're a Christian, Merry Christmas Eve. I hope you take some time for prayer and reflection. Oh, and where'd I get this coat? Actually, I got it at the Limited. That's kind of like a trendy, I don't even know if that store even exists anymore. I think it does. It was one I really loved a lot about 20 years ago. It's a mall rat store for sure. All right, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. I was going to lie and say I stole it from a Denver pimp. And Ron, well, no, actually, I don't do the commercial holidays any longer. We don't I don't want to say we don't celebrate Christmas, but we don't do the commercial Christmas here in my house. We're old enough when we want something, we just buy it. So we don't really do the gift thing. We enjoyed the time off, go out into nature, but I don't celebrate any of the commercial holidays. I don't do the commercialized Easter. I don't do Christmas, and I don't do Thanksgiving. When we want to celebrate something, we just do it and don't wait for permission from, again, the very, very commercialization of religion. I find it somewhat distasteful, but that's for me personally. I don't judge anyone else who does it. So I hope you do have a very restful weekend, and if you have some time off, enjoy it. Okay, everyone, have an awesome night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
What you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe and